Okay, hello, welcome to the stream. I should be live right about now, according to my YouTube. So let me minimize this, and then I should be able to see you guys in the chat as well. Here we are. Hello Klaus and Mologify, how are you doing? Oh, that's very unfortunate. Both of you guys are missing this one. I hope you get better soon, Klaus. And I hope that Mologify will be there for the next stream. Anyway, welcome everybody. I need to take photos in friends training. Ah, okay, nice. Well then have a good time taking photos, and see you in the next one. Hello Mind B, hello Nathan, welcome. When am I hitting you with those Goa tutorials? I first want to finish the lives or the track from scratch for high tech, and once I have like a finished high tech EP, I'll try to see which one of the ones or which of the next like Zaramas in Psytrance I want to focus on next. Anyway, we're going to be listening to some tracks. We already have a few submitted, but you guys can submit more already. Of course, that can be done in the feedback on stream channel right here. But we already have Noctuned coming in with 2 tracks, in fact, which I'll quickly download. I should have done that before the stream, but that's okay. Desktop. It'll take 3 minutes to download. If anyone wants to submit another track that we can listen to before, then that would also be nice. But welcome everyone. For those that are new and don't know what I'm doing here, I basically sit here and I listen to your guys' tracks. I have some analyzers that I pop up here, as you can see. They're really nice because they help me visualize some of the feedback that I give. We have a stereo field here, we have a waveform display. This is a so-called waterfall display, which is frequency over time, and then this is the intensity or the volume of those frequencies, these different colors. And then finally we have a normal kind of spectroscope here, which also tells us something a little bit more detailed about the frequencies, but it doesn't include a time axis. Already we have 10 people here, that's very nice. Welcome everyone. So yeah, you can join my Discord. The bot isn't running yet. Why is that? It's a little bit late today, I guess. Well, I was also a little bit late, so it needs a little bit of time, but normally once the bot starts running, and there will be a message in chat from Stream Elements once the bot like realizes that I'm live, then you should be able to hit @ feedback, and it will bring you to my Discord. Otherwise, you can just go to the link, I believe in the description, to my Discord. And you just scroll down, feedback on stream, and then you post your tracks right here in the message. Can be anything. I prefer not to have like now the bot is running. Perfect. I prefer not to have something like WeTransfer, where the only way that I can listen to your track is to actually download it. Wait. Oh. It's just on my end, the connection. So the best way to do it is to post it on like SoundCloud, or even Google Drive will work, OneDrive will work, because in those services I can play them directly from the website, and that's just a lot easier because then I don't have to wait for them to finish downloading like I have in this case. But for now that's fine. We'll just sit a little bit. It's 40 seconds and then we can start with the first track, and then you guys can start submitting. Again, ! feedback to be linked to my Discord, where you can submit your tracks for feedback. We're almost there. Five more seconds of downloading and then we can hear the first track. So I'll start with Twisted Dialogue by Demha, which you can see right here. 150 BPM in the key of G. Let's have a listen. There we are. Nice clean kick and bass, I like that. Synth work is really cool already. It's a little bit of a dark vibe, so I understand that the atmospheres are a little bit louder. I want to see how you're going to treat them throughout the whole track, if you're just going to play throughout the whole track or not. Because that's something that I've talked about with like other people. That sometimes when you have those kind of atmospheres where those are like sweeping atmospheres, it can be the case that it becomes really boring over time. Nice vocals. I like that. It's definitely not boring yet. They could be a little bit louder, the vocals, especially there when you're competing with them in terms of the high end, when there's other synths and stuff like that on top of it. There's a lot of kick fills and stuff in here, but it does seem to work quite well actually. This is a little bit of a strange place for a transition, like right after your last big fill. Structure wise, I would have like add 8 bars of just kick and bass going, maybe like 1 or 2 kick fills like you've been doing. But it felt like a weird spot for the actual transition. What's this new thing behind me? This is a sampler that was at my parents' home. It has actually appeared in my videos before. I haven't really used it in videos, but it is something that I sometimes use to produce some music. I still need to connect it. The USB cable for it to be used as a MIDI controller is here, and I'm missing about 30 centimeters of length between here and the port that I want to put it into. Also welcome Istro, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the stream, I should say. I like that you have like a big main synth here that is just continuously playing. That was something that was a little bit missing from the production, in my opinion, because all of the sound design is really, really cool. The way that you're doing it, all of the sounds that you're making, they work well together, they are layered nice and stuff like that. But for many parts of the drop there wasn't really like a main thing going on, and therefore it can sound very, very bland, because it is sound design that we hear in a lot of different psytrance tracks already. Why is the Stream Elements bot running like 3 times now? Like from a technical standpoint, from a sound design standpoint, everything about this track seems to be in order. Arrangement wise, as I said, there was a few things that I found a little bit strange. But the main thing that I would say that this track is missing is its unique identity. Apart from the vocals, which in my opinion could be a little bit louder. Hello Steven, how are you doing? The main thing is just the fact that this really doesn't have like a theme. I'm sorry, there's a mosquito right here. They always do that, right? They always fly right in front of your eyes. By the way, I should probably go like this with the microphone. I just twisted the microphone a little bit. I want to bring it a little bit closer, but I need to change the audio setup in order to do that. I hope the audio is okay, actually. Hello Matt, how are you doing? Welcome. So that was the first track from him. We have another submission by him, which will be. The track is actually called Will Be. It's 150 BPM, F sharp, and it's still work in progress. So that's what we'll listen to. Cybernetics, how are you doing? Welcome as well. So this Will Be. The track is called Will Be, so the track that we'll be listening to is Will Be. That's what I wanted to say. Let's see, we already have some more submissions. Quite a lot more. Nice, nice. Don't worry, not tuned, it's just something for next time, then it's easier for me to just listen to them. Nice kick and bass again, nice and clean. I always like to see that. I wonder, are you using wavetable bass lines? It does look like a wavetable bassline to me, like you're using a wavetable to create your bassline as opposed to your normal processing. I like the vocals. This one element seems a little bit loud. Stream Elements bot running for the 4th time. Why is that happening? Also, this looks very strange here. Look at this. It just doesn't change. I like those snares in there. It's kind of like a background element. Good stuff. This is still work in progress. I'm not going to focus too much on the mix. But personally, I think the kick and bass can have a little bit more presence in here. So that would be something to take into account, I guess. Just up the volume like a little bit. Also a little bit of extra click on the kick transient wouldn't be a bad thing. Like the very high frequencies of the transient that you have, like 8-9K. I'm very bad with cables and stuff. Yes, this is a USB to MIDI connection. I'll show it in a little bit. I'll pull it out the back so I can show you the whole cable. It's actually a very nice thing that you can get to turn any MIDI device into like just a USB controller. There's a few keys on this thing that are like broken here at the higher part. But for the rest, this is going to help me massively having an actual MIDI controller like at my disposal for playing stuff in. Not that I can play piano, but it's something that I can learn over time. And it's just something that as you're producing, you just go like this and then you play a little bit and then you go back again. I would say this track, yeah, it's the same thing. It's lacking a little bit of its main element. To be honest, when it comes to something like Dark Side, which I would classify this as, or at least a very dark version maybe of Full On, or whatever you want to say. I don't really know if this would be Dark Side or Full On, or like halfway in between or something like that. I suggest you put it in front, but here I don't have any space. There's no way that I can push it maybe 10 more centimeters this way, but the whole idea is that I can just like slide back if I need to and then just sit like this. Even now I am, you know, slightly to the side, which isn't ideal, but if I place it further forward, I would need to probably move my microphone around a little bit, and I would also need to up it by one higher, and then I would be playing like this, because otherwise it doesn't fit over the desk. Track is a nice foundation. I do agree. It just needs something, in my opinion, to light it up a little bit. But this is something that I see in a lot of, like, as I said again, I don't really know if I need to classify this as Dark Side or as Full On. It's definitely like the darker kind of psytrance for me. But you don't really see that there is a lot of actual theming being used, right? It's a lot of small sound design things that are just playing through each other, stuff like that. And you don't really seem to have a main element throughout the track, or a few main elements throughout the track. In this case there is, like this part really does have that. I do really like it. The production quality is very, very high, even though this is still work in progress, and I think the mixing can be done a little bit better. I think you're definitely on the right track. Good stuff. We have The Forgotten Student, Lamau Kai. The Forgotten Student. I assume that this is, because it is one of my students, I'm just wondering who it is. Because Lamau Kai is, they did change their name. Can I see who that is? Profile. Because I hope that you're, Rainy. Let's hear what Rainy has made. Hypnotic Rush. Hello? It's not loading. Let's reload it and drive and see. If I actually forgot about you, if there's actually something that I forgot about the student stuff, if I forgot a lesson, then let me know. I've had a busy life over the last few weeks, so it may very well be the case that this is just him calling me out in this very funny way.
Welcome all my psychedelic boys and my psychedelic girls. You can all be delighted, delighted to be attendant here.
Soon you will learn the basics of hypnosis and its effects on the brain, the body, and the mind.
This is a very good intro.
Please remain
Silent during the ceremony.
It's a little bit strange that you're now changing up the rhythm, but I do like it. Sounds really good in terms of the sound design. Let's check the cleanliness a little bit after. That's nice. That works. What you could benefit from is a little bit of stereonization on the higher frequencies and the mid-range of your bassline, especially if you're doing something this progressive. Just like 200 to 250 Hz and above. You're just slightly stereonizing it. It tends to change the tone a little bit, but overall it just gives you a very much like a wider feeling to the bassline, and therefore it feels a little bit stronger. I'm saying like very, very little. You probably want your bassline to look somewhat like that, right? So not like actual stereo, just a slight bit. Elvin, how are you doing? Welcome, welcome. Some really cool, nice, complex sound design going on here. One of the things I do see is, I don't know if this is like really clipping or if you're using some kind of special master, but it is seem like you're shaping up at the same point here every time. I don't know if you're actually like clipping that all the time. It doesn't sound like it. Doesn't sound like it's heavily distorting or anything like that. But if it is,
warm welcome to
then maybe tune it back slightly on the clipping.
Techniques used by the hypnotherapists all rely on a deep state of
focus and relaxation. The conscious mind is quieted.
During this session, all you have to remember are those three words.
Elevated. Escalated. Delighted.
Overall, the story writing throughout this track, the way that you're progressing it with the vocals, is very nice.
Elevated, escalated, elevated, delighted.
Hello? Am I back? I have no idea. Stream stopped for a while, now I'm back. It's finally back. Yes. Why is my chat now double here? Why is this happening? I'm sorry, everything broke. It's okay now. Nice. I'm sorry, this is just a big connection issue. It stopped right before the main drop. Okay, then I'll go back and I have to reload this again. I'm sorry, normally when we have like a dropout in terms of connection, it is 2 seconds. But this one like was like at least a minute, I feel like. Let's see. I'll play it from... here, I guess. The track was too heavy for the stream. It is a very good track, so maybe it is messing something up with the connection or something like that. Have you guys heard this already, or? That sounds strange. That one note there. Little hello thingy.
Hello, for the hip relax all the therapist welcome. Hello, therapist relax all the welcome. Therapist.
I like it. All of the little vocals playing through each other.
Hello and a warm welcome to today's hypnosis ceremony.
I do feel like we've heard this acid line for a long time now. Like it's the main element always playing the same thing.
Hello and a warm.
Nice transition there. I really like how you did that, going from the 16 notes to the 8 notes. Julian, welcome to the stream. Safest also welcome. G trained NG. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Welcome to the stream.
Escalated.
I'm sorry for the connection issues. It's still something I need to get sorted. I still don't know if it's my actual modem just dropping out or if it's a thing happening with OBS. Maybe the volume of the lead asset is a little loud. To be honest, for me it felt more like it was getting boring, like because it's playing so much. It is not like overwhelming to me. At least if you're referring to that main acid stab that we were hearing before.
It was an honor to be your master of ceremony. For the next
I like this. I like the way that the track completely rounds off in terms of the story. Like you talk about at the beginning preparing for the ceremony, then it's the ceremony itself is like the main drops and the main track, and then at the end, at the outro, you actually finish off the whole idea. That's really good. You don't often hear that a vocal line, like a whole idea, is talked about in a track and that they actually finish the whole idea. I am over wire, but the modem is 4G. I need to get like actual fiber connection. Is this millimeters that I'm using? This is Signalizer. All of these are different instances of Signalizer. Anyway, really well done. I really like that track. It's really powerful. Maybe, I don't know if you were clipping on your master, if that was the case. But if that is the case, then maybe you can slightly hold back, because usually when it comes to clipping in sidetracks, that's not like often done. We tend to master very loudly, but not loud to the point where you clip things very hard. At least I don't see it like clipping off entire sections of the waveform. Usually the kick transient and maybe some other transients, like main transients, those get clipped off, but not entire oscillations of a kick, for example. I would recommend against clipping anything more than just like small segments of transients. But really cool track from the Forgotten Student. I mean, if I did really forget you, then just message me, because I may really have. I don't know if this is a joke or if there's actually something serious behind it that I forgot to do. Anyway, the next track is Approach, Fight the Vampire, mix 15. So after 15 times of mixing, I hope that this is well mixed. 148 BPM unmastered. Let's go.
Look into my eyes. Believe.
Personally, I think the vocals can be a little bit louder as opposed to the rest of the track. The bass is a little bit on the loud side. It's also not cleaned up on this transient here, so you didn't resample individual notes. I do like that your kick transients are clean, and this transient is also clean, but this one is just completely messed up, as you can see. I also feel like the bass is maybe a little bit loud in respect to the kick. Let me actually turn up my monitoring volume a bit here. Like the kick is a little bit drowned out in this mix. I don't know if this is SoundCloud compression, but look at how the kick transient changes by every play. I hope that you did indeed resample your kick. I mean, I assume you did, because that low end does look very nice and very stable. Again, I felt like I did hear some vocals, but it was hard to understand whether I should listen to them, if they were like important for like the storytelling that you're doing in this track, or if it's like an effect or something like that. So in my opinion, you should mix the vocals in a way that at least that becomes clear, that should I listen to them? Are they part of the story? And if yes, obviously you want to be able to understand what they're saying in terms of the story. But I felt like right now that's not the case. Goedemiddag. Welkom bij mijn livestream. Nee, jij bedankt. The only reason why I'm able to quickly go into Dutch right now is because this weekend my parents came over, so I spoke Dutch the whole weekend. So I'm in the Dutch mindset right now. Normally I cannot make those very quick transitions. The mix definitely isn't the cleanest here. Like the volume balance is a little bit off. As said before, the kick is lacking some volume. But now also together, when you're mixing your kick, or when you're mixing your bass and for example your open hat together, you get these very strong spikes that you can see poking out of the waveform. You usually want to take care of that with a little bit of compression. Obviously this still has to be mastered, so in the master, if you're going to take care of that, that would be okay. But in my opinion right now the kick or the bass line is just a little bit too loud, and I think that it's not so much that the kick is too quiet, it's more that the bass is too loud. That's a little bit of a strange place to have a transition. Also, is it me or is the acid line completely mono? Apart from its delays. No, maybe not. I mean, the sound design is really, really cool. It's more, I think, mixing that you can improve this track. Stream Elements bot is running again. It's like the 6th time today. But we did have a restart here. Overall, really nice track. I would just spend a little bit more time on the mixing and specifically just starting with your volume balance. Because there are some few issues with the volume balance that I think create also some other issues, like those peaks that I talked about where the bass line and the open hat together, they combine into some very high peaks. And obviously clean up your bass line, resample your bass line and recreate all of the notes in audio format, and then don't use any filters after that. Just make sure that you have a clean kick and bass. That's very important. Noctuned is writing in the Discord chat. Why not in the normal YouTube chat? It doesn't matter. Next up we have a man who isn't an artist. He's actually gone with a slow track this time. It's only 190 BPM. Bueno something. This is the track name. I'm not saying that. But this is man who isn't an artist. Let's have a listen to your music. Non-artist. Starting off strong with a very loud sub bass. Minecraft impact there. It's from the Minecraft trailer somewhere, I do know that. I'm not a fan of the riser just coming in. I would fade that in over a longer period of time. I already like your use of sound design a lot more in this section. The last section felt a little bit empty. We have the same feel here as the last one. I would consider doing something different there. You're welcome, Steven. I hope it's helpful. That's a little bit loud. You can see it here as well. It changes the color completely. It focuses the track completely to the mid-range if that's playing. Again, the same fill. I'm not a fan of when it comes to high tech. One of the ideas behind all of the complex fills and the glitches and all of that stuff that you're doing is that it's constantly different. I've heard the same little fill idea now 3 times. I don't know if in a row, but like 3 times in quick succession. Here we have it again. It's the same idea, right? Just like a little bit of a different kick fill, a different idea can definitely make each part of the track stand out more. This sounds very aggressive. That's a little bit of an odd transition there. I don't really know what to make of it. Sounds like it's not quite finished there. Here as well, it's full energy, but the synths are very slow. Where can I send you a track? Exclamation point feedback should indeed bring up the bot, but it isn't working. Let me get you the link to my Discord. Can I click here? I think I can. I'll just link you to my Discord myself. You'll get in my Discord. You'll probably land here, play some of my music, add it to your playlist. Then you scroll down, feedback on stream, and then you paste it in here. You're definitely improving your sound design and your structuring, like from the things that we've talked about the last time. This is a little bit on the crazy side. Also, is it just me, or can high tech benefit from a little bit of bounce to the bass line? Just like a slight bit of difference between the volumes of the 3 notes, so that it's, because I feel like the first note sounds a little bit overly aggressive now as opposed to the other 2. I think the snare needs some EQ as well. Yeah, I agree, the snare is not the best. It is a very stereotypical high-tech snare, right? And that it has that mid-range kind of sploosh to it almost. That's what I would call it. I don't know if it has a technical name, a technical term for it, but it is kind of like something that I've heard before. I do feel like it was a little bit dirty and a little bit long maybe as well. Anyway, we have another project. This case is coming from Elvin. This is a new project, 138 BPM, not mastered. Let's see what it's called. Okay, now I have to... Here I feel like, yeah, you could leave a little bit more space. I also think that your first bass note can be a little bit quieter here. And overall the bass is maybe even a little bit too loud here. If I look at the volume difference between the kick and the bass, I feel like this part is a little bit less clean than what you had before. Here the bass is like significantly louder as the kick, whereas the kick is the most important element. It feels like this should be the hype moment. This should be the part where you have the rolling kick and bass and you get you're building up the energy, right? We're going up, we're rising. That filter cutoff is opening up. Here we go, here we go. And then now it's just suddenly finished. Yeah, this should, here there should be the highest moment. This should be where you really go into it and where it's the most powerful part of the piece. Except that it just kind of finishes here for now. I don't know if that's because it's still work in progress. It's also 8 minutes long, so maybe you were just afraid of going too long. But from a musical standpoint, this is the climax, in my opinion. So that there should be a payoff to that build up. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, next up we have Abracadabra, again by Man Who Isn't an Artist. It's going to be 200 BPM in C again. Let's see. Cannot scan for viruses. I don't have to. I trust him.
Samson and Sheila. Mama felt. Shut up, bitch! You tell Mr. Nice Guy to get his Jamaican ass over to my place at 3 o'clock tomorrow.
It is very empty now here. Maybe a little bit of extra atmosphere would be nice. As opposed to just this kick and bass slowly rising up.
Welcome to my lair.
Let's see, indeed, yes.
What part of Jamaica? Right near the beach.
In my opinion, this should be the part where there's a strong synth. Now we have a little bit, but it would be nice to have one kind of riding through all this whole section. Maybe some extra glitchy stuff.
If I wasn't Jamaican, then why would I wear this hat?
Here it's the same kind of snare. You see all of that kind of noise in here? It's a very standard high-tech snare actually. Artist name, this is Man Who Isn't an Artist actually. Or in the chat it's Christo. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm pretty sure I don't.
Abracadabra, yo!
In my opinion, going a little bit overboard here with the double kicks that you were doing there. Every 2 beats, every 2 bars is a little bit much. And again, you have the same like fill idea at every end of the section. Right, how many times have we heard this in a row now?
Abracadabra.
But again, the sound design is really strong, it's really well done. This reverb is a little bit overwhelming, especially because there's a lot of high-end, or no, not high-end, low-end in the reverb there. Suddenly it's all very big, very reverberated. And that wasn't the case with any of the elements before in the...
$100 I got Jerry Garcia and ouch, man.
like anywhere in the track.
Who the hell told you that?
The guy who sold it to me, Barry Garcia.
I like your vocal mix. And my weird door is high-pitched bass pan to the left. To be honest, I didn't notice that. Might be the case, maybe I overlooked that. Also, Des is saying that there's not enough high frequencies, which, yeah, I agree with. Could have some spice, like 10k above here, spice. Some air, you usually call that.
Jerry, we eat you. Abracadabra, B! Man!
In this case, it isn't. If you want your own release, in the break, once I get a little bit tired and I want to take a little break, I'll put on one of my own tracks. Of course, of course. And I have to organize some releases because I'm actually going away for 2 weeks on a holiday in about 2 weeks.
Sucks to be you, man! Oh, man! Oh, man! What did I told you? He was real, man!
To be honest, I don't think that the bass is going too high. But what I would say is that if you're using this melody for the bass, you should use it in 1, maybe 2 sections. Right? Because now we've had it so many times that it gets a little bit too overwhelming. When it comes to like high tech, the bass can go a lot higher than other genres because you have very short oscillation times. I hear it more often, like in high tech, that the bass line is this very, very high octave. Even that doesn't really provide a sub bass at all. It does usually happen for short amount of times, like 1 or 2 beats, I would say. One of the things here is that you're playing it at that high octave for 6 beats, right? A bar and a half. I think. Yeah, maybe it's too long.
Jerry.
I would agree with that.
You're welcome, Brian. Peace.
Anyway, I still like the track very much. There's a lot of cool sound design going on. How long have I been live? Oh, just above an hour. We can do some more before I have to take a break. Mr. Friendly, living up to the name, how are you doing? This is Lift Me Up by Ionic. Sorry for not saying that earlier. I know this isn't really what you work with, but I'm trying to get as much feedback from different sources with this one. I don't mind any genre of music. Obviously I'm known for psytrance, but I'll listen to anything. When it comes to your sub bass, I think you would benefit from lowering it a little bit. The vocals can use a little bit more stereo, a little bit more exciting. And when you're sidechaining your sub bass, make sure that the sidechain activates slightly in front of the kick transient. as well as the snare if you're side-tuning it to the snare. That way the space is already made for the snare before.
So we seize the day, run away together, go.
In this case, the transient gets still cut off by the sub bass because the bass is playing up until the transient and then it stops. You want a little bit of a fade out, right?
Together, go all the way, all the way. Lift me up, make me feel like I'm the only one that you like.
Some crazy sound design going on there. I used to be able to do this. Oh, you're getting some DC offsets there. Did you see the waveform being messed up there? You're going too low with your sub bass, I think. When it comes to the sub bass, yeah, I could agree that a little bit of extra harmonics wouldn't hurt. I'm doing well, Mr. Friendly. Thank you for asking.
Feel like I'm the only one.
Yeah, the vocals are very boring in comparing with the rest of the mix. They are very delayed as well. But they're just one vocal line. Usually you have harmonies, you have doubles, you have band effects. You just stereonize them overall a little bit more so that they have some stereo width.
So we seize the day.
Like, this is completely mono. Or almost completely mono. And that really contrasts with this big ass stereo chord.
Lift me up, make me feel like I'm the only one.
Track and artist again. Ionic, Lift Me Up.
So we seize the day.
Lift Me Up, Ionic.
All the way,
It's still a private track, but I think it will release soon, hopefully. Overall, composition wise and sound design wise and just overall like the quality of the production, I really like it, but I do think that there's, especially when it comes to the vocals, a lot of work to be done still. But I can definitely see this being a well-made track if you spend a little bit more time on the details. Anyway, oh, we have a lot of tracks still. Nice, nice. I like that. Next up, there is Cybernetics, Once Upon a Time. Snare could also use some compression, in my opinion. Maybe. To be honest, I didn't notice anything too hard. The part of that genre that I know works is that you slam your kick and your snare into your master limiter. That actually emphasizes the sidechaining more because your master limiter gets triggered, and then it is also like almost like because you're triggering your master limiter so hard, everything after that gets extra sidechained. Do you mean add more layers to the vocals then? Yeah, harmonize them, add some doubles, add some octaves, stuff like that. I like this semi-melodic, like abstract sound design that we're going on here in the intro. Let's see where this goes. Like a wet layer as well. Yeah, not so much a wet layer. What you've done now is you've just plugged on a delay. Usually the delay and the reverb, they get ducked out of the way of the main vocal. So I would do that. Nice. Looks nice. I like the cleanliness. The transient isn't that well defined, but it doesn't seem like a problem to me. Like tonally, I can see this working. You could just have a little bit more of a stronger transient if you want. If you want more high end out of that transient, then you could definitely do that. What I would also recommend is hype or low pass your kick at around 10k. Especially later when you're going into the drums and you're layering a hat on top of it, it just makes mixing those two elements a lot easier. There does seem to be some stereonicing on this bass, yes. Would you say that it's too much? Because I'm a fan of it. Like if you go lower than something like 250 Hertz, 200 Hertz, then I wouldn't do that. But if you stay above that, even that mid-range, I feel like a little bit of stereo width can actually help the bassline most of the time. This is indeed like stereonized at a very low frequency. Yes, I agree. Also, I think the hi-hats can have a little bit more definition. One, you can compress them a little bit more. And two, you can give them a slight boost in the highest frequencies here, so that they get that extra like snap to it, a little bit of extra air. But it's like half a dB, maybe a dB max off boost that I would do in those frequencies, because you are pretty much there. Yeah, I would indeed, yes. If you're stereonizing the bass, you could set the high pass that you're using in your stereonizer a little bit higher. Maybe shape off another 2 harmonics that you're not stereonizing then. I like the asterisk vocal that you're using here. I heard it. The bass line is very high. Keep in mind that this is the first harmonic, right? So this is at 80 Hertz. Shoop B, O B, shoop B, O B. Deep jungle walk vocal. I'll recognize that vocal anywhere, I think. I do really like your sound design as well as your composition. Your composition is quite strong. The overall like structure of the track. Like your use of, indeed, yeah, the real world instruments. Overall, the production is quite strong. It just needs a little bit of extra attention to the mixing. When I try to compose something in D sharp, it looks more easy to mix. Do you have more experience with working in D sharp than, say, A sharp? Because for me it's the opposite. I have an easier time working in A sharp because that's the main key that I work in. If that's the experience that you have, then it's going to sound better, right? Like if that's what if you like D sharp and you always work in D sharp, then obviously mixing in D sharp is going to be easier.
Once upon a time.
I do think, yeah, what Dash is saying is also true. It might even be the case that the standing frequencies in the room dictate partially which key you enjoy most. Or the acoustics of the room, I should say. I think the vocals that we just heard in the drop have this, I wouldn't say issue, but you guys know about the uncanny valley, where as things become more human, we like them, the things are very cool, and then they suddenly become very uncool because they're almost human, and then when they become fully human, it's, we're not afraid of them anymore. It's like the robot faces that we know aren't quite right, and therefore they look very, very creepy. It was the same with these vocals, in that the vocals, they were very affected, but not enough for me to say like, okay, this is like a sequence, or this is like a lead element or something like that. They were still distinctly vocals, but they were not vocally enough that I could say like, understand exactly what was going on with the vocals. That might have been the idea that you were going for. Sorry, this is autoplay. That might have been the idea that you were going for. I don't know if you did, but if you don't want to go for that idea, I would personally say that personally suggest that you could use a transgate on them to just chop it up, and that usually, when it comes to vocals, it just kind of turns it automatically into a sequence. Anyway, it has been an hour and almost 20 minutes, so I'm going to put up one of my tracks. I'm going to take a quick break and refresh my ears real quick, and then I'll be right back. Let me just find one. I'll play this one, even though I want to maybe keep some of my tracks a secret. I've played this so many times that it doesn't matter. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll be back in a little bit. I hope you guys like that one. It's not yet released, but hopefully a month and a half, something like that. I'll release this track and 2 others. And I might have a release before that, depending on how well I can organize things. But this is Beyond, so that's the name of the track, and it is still unreleased, so unfortunately you guys cannot hear it in any other place other than my live stream, I guess. Anyway, yeah, so this is my track. Somebody already answered that. Guys, how long set I need to debut, or how you did that? An EP with 3 songs is enough, and I have 1.5 hours. Can I go play in parties? Yeah, 100%. I would say, as like a DJ, your main goal isn't to play your own music, but it is more to provide a proper live set for people to dance to, right? That might not consist completely out of your music, so the amount of music that you bring to from your own to a live set doesn't really matter, as long as you have a full live set that you can provide. It doesn't have to be your own music. At the end of the day, your goal isn't to promote your music, it is to make people dance. But when it comes to like the length of a live set, yeah, 1.5 hours should probably be enough. It's going to depend on the venue. They'll probably give you a time that you have to play. They might say like, oh, we want you to play an hour, we want you to play 2 hours, maybe even 3 hours, and you just like tweak the set, the set list that you want to play depending on the time that they give you. 2 seconds, we'll get back into the feedback. I just want to pour myself a drink. Here we are. And then we will continue with the next track, which will be Side. Equin numerosity _5_test.mp3. Both of them are not finished. He has submitted 2 tracks. Both of them are small samples, so one is like 1.5 minutes. The other one, which we'll play after, is 4 minutes almost. Let's see. I'm not getting any audio. Here we are. Bit quiet, can I turn it up? Never mind. Okay, so it is actually loud. I hope I will be here when you play mine. I mean, how many tracks are still left before yours? I think like 10 minutes. No, not even. 5 minutes and then we'll play yours. I like the composition, I like the sound design. Ads will run shortly for some viewers in a minute. Let's skip that. I don't want to play any ads. The main issue that I see now with the track is the lack of definition between all of the elements. Everything is kind of happening at once and it's not really separated well. But I assume that this still needs some mixing, and I think that you're probably going to fix that then. I also hope that you're going to do some sidechaining on that sub bass. But overall, like the composition, I really like that. It sounded really good. Nice, I sent another DMB right now. Perfect. We'll get to it when we'll get to it. But yeah, the composition is good, the sound design is good, the mixing is just currently like not there. So I think that's the main issue with the track as it is. I'm assuming that the reason for that is because it's not finished. This is Equin numerosity, the one that we just heard, 5test.mp3, and now we go to this other one, which I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce. Let's go. A little bit of a darker start. Let me get a snack here. And then after this one, Shacked, I think it's up to you. These things are so hard to open. I have some sweaty hands, so that doesn't help the situation here. This is nice. This is already a little bit better. The kick can have a little bit more like space, I guess. I guess that's because I don't think that there's sidechaining between the kick and the bass here, like the kick and the 808. But already, like, this separation is a lot better. Apart from, as I said, the punch of the kick, which feels like gets lost a little bit in the trans or the start of the sub bass. This would be liquid drum and bass, right? That would be the term for it, I suppose, I guess. It's like jungle. What is the difference between jungle and liquid drum and bass? I also like what you're doing with the hi-hats and the way that they're slightly changing tone over time. I think you maybe either pitch shifting or frequency shifting them, which is a really cool idea. I might want to implement that in some of my tracks in Psytrance. See if there's some cool things that you can do there in terms of the groove. Like a little variation there. You could have a little bit more drum variation throughout the track here, like you had there. Jungle is like old sounds, old synths, Amen breaks. Yeah, okay, then that would be, yeah, this would be jungle then. I can see that. Really nice, I like this. I like this one more than the first one that you sent. Maybe the first one is a little bit in earlier stage of production, but it felt a little bit more clogged up, right? All of the elements were not giving each other enough space. Whereas with this first one, that is much less the case. And like the melodic ideas, the musical ideas come out a lot more. So I like the second one, I like that a lot more than the first one. Just for that reason. Obviously, once you start mixing it and you actually like do the separation part, it should be a lot better. Anyway, next up we have Full On No Mix Master by Shaked. So I hope you're still here. This is going to be both mixed and mastered, which is nice. Okay, this is Dropbox. I can play it in Dropbox, right? Yes. Very low volume at the beginning here, actually. Ah, wait, sorry. That's not the case. Let me play that again, because it was at a very low volume in Dropbox for some reason. Now it should be a bit better. Be hard on you, please. I will. This stuff sucks. No, just kidding. Sounding good so far. I do wonder where you're mastering this to, because it does feel a little bit quiet for the master track. Unless you decided to master this for maybe like or Spotify or something like that. Kick and bass, I would say that you could use a little bit of extra like cleaning up, especially this part here. You just want to fade out your kick before this transient plays, and the same is true here, and the same is true there. The way that you do that is you resample your bass line, which is a critical stage of kick and bass production. Also a little bit of extra processing, a little bit of extra phase shifting wouldn't hurt your bass line. It's not mix and master. Ah, full on no mix master. Ah, that makes sense. It's because full on and no are written like this, so I didn't see that this is regarding the no mix and master part. But now it makes sense. There where you had the reverse kick, there you also have a problem of cleanliness where the kick that is sliding into the next kick is causing problems with the transient of the actual kick that it's sliding into. Usually your reverse kick, you fade it out slightly before, I'm talking about like a millisecond or two right before the transient plays, so that it goes to silence and then the transient has maximum punch, essentially, because if it's already loud before it, we're not going to perceive it as loud as if it becomes silent and then the transient plays. I've turned it up the highest it can be. I like your use of vocal there. It's nice and in its own spot, so it just carries through. There's not a lot of mixing that you would have to do to make space for that vocal. What I do want to say is that your track feels fairly mono. Like all of these synths here, they're not really playing with the stereo field, and you couldn't do that a little bit more. Put the limiter on and master it, it cannot be that hard. Well, it is actually that hard if you know my audio setup. I like your sound design. Like this one synth, that synth is doing a lot more with the stereo field. You can even see it that the stereo field widens when it plays, right? You kind of want that for all of your synths. This synth is a little bit loud. Put the utility on the master and turn it up, I cannot hear it. Yeah, that's not going to work. Like, let's try that. I'm just going to put the utility on this track here. It's not doing anything. And that's because I'm using a complex audio setup where I cannot just turn up the volume. It's going into my audio setup at the maximum volume that it's playing. It's just baked into the file that this is a very quiet file. So as I said, it's not that easy. I cannot just turn it up. Overall, I really like it. Composition-wise, you can maybe do a little bit more. I know the track is now 5 minutes long. You can stretch it out to maybe 7 minutes. One of the things that I want to advise you is maybe do a little bit more with the fills. Some of the fills can be a little bit longer. You can have some fills where you're essentially creating a build-up into that fill. If you plan on taking the energy level from one segment of the drop into the next segment of the drop and you're trying to take that up, you can, instead of just having a little fill there, having a little stop of the kick and bass and then bringing in the extra synths in the fill or after the fill when that next section of the drop starts to play, you can add some snares, add some risers, high pass your kick and bass. That is a very commonly used trick to make space for that build-up that you're creating there. You can do all of that so that the flow of the track is a little bit more exciting. Also, I feel like a lot of the fills had the same length. You can play with the length of the fill. Usually a longer fill gives you more time to transition between the level of energy of the first section as opposed to the second section that you have, the one before the fill versus the one after the fill. Because that's really the goal of a fill, is to take you from the section that you're just stopped playing into the section that is playing after it. But overall, in terms of sound design and stuff like that, I do really like this track. I think it's really cool. Next up, we have Matt J with LBT Every Night Work in Progress 5.mp3. Volume is pretty low. I'll try to turn it up as much as I can here in Discord and hope for the best.
Gee, mate, what do you want to do tonight?
Same thing we do every night.
Okay. A little bit of strange kick and bass. Both of the elements are fairly short. Your bass line seems very unstable. Like sometimes it has this very short, strong peak down below, sometimes it goes like up. I don't know if that's a resampling issue or something like that. It also sounds very stereo, your bass line. I do like the kind of Goa Minimale vibe that you've going on here. The ending ends abruptly. Okay, thank you for informing us. That way I won't be surprised when it just suddenly stops. I do feel like there's a little bit of sub-bass punch missing, especially from your kick. Also there you had the kick and the bass play at the same time, I think. It was a little bit hard to hear, but it did feel like that was what was going on there. Feels a little bit off in my opinion. Here again you can see when that rolling bassline plays that you have there. You can see that you have those very strong spikes. I would take care of that maybe even with a clipper. But you probably in the sound design you want to change your sound design up so that you don't have those very strong clicks there. The most important thing with stereo bass is that it's in phase and not out of phase. The most important thing about stereo bass is that you high pass the stereoizer that you're using to like above 200-250 Hertz, I would say. That way your lowest few harmonics are going to be mono. The vibe is really fun. I do agree. It's a nice jumpy production. It just needs some mixing work. And as I said, a few things that I would probably change in the sound design about the kick and the bass. Here, there is like that one big spike, something like that you would need to just take care of in the mix, right? overall, I think maybe if you just turn up your kick and bass by 2-3 dB, it's going to solve some of those problems. Because you can see how loud the track gets when the kick and bass isn't playing versus when the kick and bass is playing. And usually when the kick and bass is playing, you want the track to just be a bit louder. Because that's the point where you're dancing to, you want that to have maximum impact.
What do you want to do tonight?
I always use span on every channel to see if the sound is in phase. Span. Do I have span here? You mean with the correlation meter? Ah, but that's it, like, yeah, I guess. You don't want it to go out of phase in this way. Yeah, that is also an important thing. But you shouldn't get close to that when you're stereoizing your bass. To be honest, I think a stereo bass should probably go up to like here-ish. Because completely mono is here. So you want to push it up until here. Maybe not even that spot. And a good chunk of that stereoization isn't happening on the lower frequency. So that's going to keep it closer to mono. Because those are very dominant frequencies. And if you're not stereoizing them, they keep it more mono.
Same thing we do every night.
Yeah, it does end abruptly there. I do agree, yes. It just kind of ends there. But I really like the production, I really like the idea. I think personally that this track needs a lot of work in regards to the mixing. But yeah, overall nice production. Thank you for the submission. Next up, another one, a man who isn't a Frenchcore artist. Ooh, what's frustration? We're gonna get some Frenchcore, guys. At least that's what I'm assuming here. So this is again Hristo. I'm sorry again. I have no idea how I should pronounce that. Maybe I should look that up someday, because you do submit a lot of tracks and I feel bad for mispronouncing your name every time. If that's what I'm doing. Anyway, man who isn't a Frenchcore artist, what's frustration? Let's see. If it's not going to be Frenchcore, then it's going to be very meta, the name that you're using as an artist. It is very dark for Frenchcore. Frenchcore tends to be a little bit like melodic. This is a very dark start to a Frenchcore track.
Of imperfection. It seems to come out of a striving and a frustration. And this is where I think language came from. I mean, it came from our desire to transcend our isolation and have some sort of connection with one another.
This is Frenchcore indeed, yes. It is fairly quiet for a Frenchcore track. I assume that this is mastered and then you turn down the volume. So when you're actually releasing this, I would go like full volume here.
And it had to be easy when it was just simple survival, like, you know, water. We came up with a sound for that. Or saber-tooth tiger right behind you. We came up with a sound for that. But when it gets really interesting, I think, is when we use that same system of symbols to communicate.
Ah, you just forgot that there's a -7 dB on the master.
That we're experiencing.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm seeing here, yeah, with the
Or what is
strong limiting of the waveform.
love? When I say love, the sound
Which for anybody wondering for Frenchcore, that is actually what you want. You want that really squashed waveform, right?
travels through this Byzantine conduit in their brain, through their memories of love.
This analyzer is passing out completely here.
Register what I'm saying, and they say yes, they understand. But how do I know they understand? Because words are inert. They're just symbols. They're dead.
It does sound really good. Here we can check the cleanliness as well.
Our experience is intangible. So much of what we perceive
Looks pretty good.
cannot be expressed. It's unspeakable.
I'm not going to check all of your kick fills, but I'm assuming that it's
We communicate,
clean as well.
and we feel that we have connected, and we think that
Yes.
we're understood.
Very nice. You're fading out right before the kick transient, so every kick transient has maximum punch.
And that feeling might be transient, but I think it's what we live for. Live for. Live for. Live for. Live for.
Really cool. I like that. It's like Frenchcore and Psytrance combined into one new genre. Really good. Okay. Next up, we have Groth, also known as Costidia, also known as Psychal, with Miss of the Snake, official audio. So this is an official one. Let's see. There's some very low oscillation happening there. I don't know if that's what you wanted to have happen. You're welcome. It was a really good kick and bass. Yeah, I do agree. Very nice. Very big impact there. That sub bass is so low that you don't really need that low, super low frequency. And you can see what it does to the waveform. It's going to make mastering this really, really hard. I don't like the look of this transient here. You should clean that up. Resample your kick and bass. I'm also not a fan of the lower noise that you have on your kick. And again, I do believe that the bassline can be a little bit more stereo. It did look like the DC offset, but after that I saw it's like a very low sine wave oscillation, right? That came just from that impact that I think you may have pitched down for some reason. Because how would you otherwise get that low of an oscillation from that? In terms of the sounds, I would like to hear some more different sounds. We've heard this sound already in the intro quite a lot. It's like it heard me and just became louder. It's like, no, I want to be here. Another thing to consider is the length of your snare. With this long of a snare, it really takes the groove out of the track, in my opinion. It's even louder still. This is too loud. That synth is just way too loud now. You can see even in here, if the color of the waveform changes, that means that the focus is more on the mid-range than the low frequencies. And that's never what you want with your synths. Your synths are there to generate interest in the music, not to overtake the bassline. for the kick. Maybe those synths are out of key. To be honest, I'm not really good at the musical theory kind of part of music, so I won't be able to hear. It does feel very repetitive though. Here, now we're getting some more synths. You could have used these in the drop as well. What I'm assuming is going to happen is that now we're going to get into a drop where these synths are going to play. And in that case, what I would suggest is that you just do more sound design for all of your tracks, so that you have more synths to play with. I do like the groove here. There's the 2 bass notes here at the beginning, which I think are a little bit too loud. And obviously clean up everything, like I said before. One of the things that's important when mixing sidetracks is that your kick is the most important element, because that's what we're dancing to. And you can see how much that bass line is overtaking the kick here, in terms of just pure loudness. I also think the bass and the synths are in a different root key / scale. That might be the case. Yeah, I'm not good enough at hearing that, I would say. So I'll trust you guys that that's the case. And in that case, obviously change that. Also, is there a reason why you decided to not go with an offbeat hi-hat here? Or like anywhere in the track, I think? Because that's kind of the staple, your 909 hi-hat, that kind of thing. On the offbeat. Could be cool if you do a video where you explain what DC offset is, because I don't really know much about it. Well, do I have a surprise for you, my friend? There you are. I actually made 2 shorts on DC offsets. One on how to create it in Serum, which is the one that I linked. And then there's another one, I think, where I use it for sound design. Or maybe even in the same short I explained that. Here what I would do is that noise, you just filter that in so that you get an actual riser out of it. Now you can hear how empty this part of the track feels, as there's no synths in here, right? That becomes boring really, really quickly. There should be some stuff in the middle that keeps it interesting. Also very strange end to the track, in my opinion. That last segment should be a little bit longer, if you ask me. But overall, like, the sound design is there and the startings of a sidetracks track are there. It's a little bit more beginner. I cannot really say not in a bad way, because that is just a bit of a mean thing to say, but I do think that that's a valid thing to say. You can hear that you have a little bit less experience than some of the other tracks that have been played. To be honest, my big issue is the random key changes. As I said, I'm not versatile enough to hear that. It did sound off a little bit to me. I was mainly frustrated with the fact that it was the same sounds over and over again, so maybe that just made it boring as well for me. But if you guys say that if that's like a different key, yeah, then I would always stay in the same key. It does feel maybe a little bit off if you're changing the key all the time, and especially if you're mixing two different keys at the same part of the track. Next up, I just made it yesterday, just an idea, but I'm curious how legit is marriage of psytrance and drum and bass in your opinion. No any twist or fills or any composition work. Okay, I don't know what that means, that last part. When it comes to the marriage, we'll see how legit it is when I hit play. So this is drum and bass, BACE, in your face, PHACE, build 1.mp3. Obviously the spelling isn't part of the title, I just wanted to let you guys know how it's spelled. What is not a good idea, I think, is stereo kick transients. And again, when you're doing sidechaining, I personally believe that it's important that you sidechain right before the transient, not at the transient, so that you give that transient its actual impact. What you can see now is that it just kind of swooshes into the transient, right? Let's see if I can... Yeah, this is where the sidechaining engages, and it should engage probably right about here, and then just fade out up until like this point here. Also, you could do a separate sub bass so that it's not impacted with the phasing that you get from your like Reese bass thing that you're doing here. Because you can see the bass line just kind of does this in volume over time. We did indeed get a lot of drum and bass today. I do like this fusion between psytrance and drum and bass. I do think that sounds good. Sound design works. Well, something is causing your sub bass, or yeah, no, it's the sub bass, I think. Looking at the different levels that I can just see from the red part of the waveform, it's going, parts are like this loud and then other parts are this loud. Or maybe you're making a sub bass where you're using some detuning on the sub bass, which I would recommend not to do. Like your sub bass should probably just be a flat sine wave, even if it's separated into two different patches. Made from a not compressed sample. Okay, in that case, compress it. And then you should also spend some time adding fades right before the transients. You can probably tackle this with some multiband and just compress the sub bass so that you get a more stable sub bass. You can obviously have a little bit of dynamics in there, but to be honest, it feels like it's too much. It's just changing too much. Hello Shiox, welcome, welcome. I like this. One of the things I would recommend is adding a few more fills and adding a few more changes over time with those fills. What I feel like you're doing is you're just like upping the amount of synths that are playing, but I would play with some synths in one section, some other synths in some other section, maybe that's a little bit more, so that it feels like parts of the track are a little bit more separated. That way you can really achieve some storytelling throughout the track by just having different synths play at different parts. Anyway, we also have another one from you, and one of my old ones from 7 years ago, because no one is sending any new. I would definitely do a change/fill every 64 bars. Usually in sidetrance we go every 16 bars or 32 bars. It's just a yesterday idea. Ah, okay, that's what that means. Oh, okay. No composition work. Ah, okay, yeah, no. That makes sense. But this is Crazy Beauty, also by Dabakra, which also submitted the last track. And in the chat that is Marton. I like this. What I don't like is not cleaning up your kick and bass. But the overall sound I really like. Very different from what we've heard so far today. Here also you can see your transients for the bass lines aren't really cleaned, and so your last bass line is kind of moving into the transient, which loses a lot of punch for that transient, because what you essentially want is you want it to stop playing here. That's why I say resampling, because one of the big problems with doing the processing is that it overrides your basic volume envelope that you have on the on like your synthesis patch. Another thing that I'm seeing is that some bass notes are just a lot louder than the rest. I would advise against that. Where can we send in tracks? In my Discord server, !feedback should work, I think. If you type that, you should be brought into my Discord server, and then you go feedback on stream, and you just post it in here. Nice switch up. I like that. This one is actually already cleaner, the bass line. A little bit, I think. Oh no, it's actually worse. Look at this. Do you see the bleeding into the transients here? Now you can see that this bass note is essentially pushing all of this part of the kick like away from it. So the kick doesn't actually have the space here. And the same is true with the bass notes before. That's why I don't recommend using telephotal, I recommend using resampling. I do like the overall mix though and the overall volume balance. Apart from those some bass notes that were a lot louder than the rest, I think that in general your kick and bass volume balance and also the balance with all of the other elements is very well done. Composition wise, this track is getting a little bit boring. Feedback isn't working, the command. For some reason, I think Stream Elements is having a day that it's just not working. I do think I have the invite link. No. Let me get the invite link for you so that you can just join via that. Because otherwise the bot would send it to you, but... Here you go. That should bring you to my Discord server. The bot seems to be a little bit broken because it's the 10th time now that it says that the bot is running and it's not responding to any of the commands. My chair is getting a little sticky. Overall composition wise, I think one of the big issues is the lack of fills here. Because the fills is also where you're going to change the elements, right? Here we can hear that he is changing the modulation on the element, but the element itself stays the same. I would actually recommend changing like the patch that you're using. I've sent the track on the server. Perfect, then we'll get to it. Said this to my new one last week. Yeah, okay then. But this one is old, right? This is like 7 years old. Really loving the bass melodies. I do, yes. Overall, it's again, all of the things that I'm seeing, it's not big things, right? It's not like, oh, something is completely off. It's the detail things that you might want to take a look at. I guess the composition thing is not really a detail. But even that is, in the span of an afternoon you can fix that, if you want to. But overall the production is really good, I really like that. Very nice. Next up is Majay, who decided to submit another experimental drum and bass, which is really cool. And then after that we'll have Stone. Which is Pedro, I think. And then hopefully Seox can also find its way to the server and submit the track. I did send you the invite link. If you just click that, you'll get an invite to the Discord and you should be able to join. I like this. That's a very strong sub bass. You can see how it's messing with the kick here. I would sidechain that to the kick much more heavily. And also with these kind of sub basses, you can do phase alignment on this as well, actually. You can see sometimes the wave is out of phase. Maybe I can catch it. Here. Do you see, you could phase align this part so that the kick just completely dominates, and then here when the kick stops, I guess this is still sub bass from the kick, because why would this be happening? Just make sure I would fade out the kick here, phase alignment, do phase alignment on this part, and then just make sure that this doesn't wobble. And again, when it comes to the sub bass, it is probably a good idea to fade it out a little bit before the kick plays, as opposed to the exact moment that the kick plays, so that you have a little bit of extra punch in that transient there. Because I think that here you can see this transient is again being pushed up, right? And you can here see with the sub bass a transient is being pushed down, and that means that you're losing a little bit of punch from that. But the sound, yeah, I agree, it's a really well produced track. Just the instrumentation, the production, some really nice attention to details, very good stuff. I like all of the background elements that are currently changing. I know that there's this one kind of metallic slap in here, which is maybe a little bit on the loud side. If you turn it down 2 dB, I wouldn't mind. But I also like that there, all of the, or not all of them, but a lot of the background elements changed, which helps a lot with keeping that section unique and interesting. Very nice. You guys should DM each other on Discord if you want to share links for SoundCloud and stuff like that. Unfortunately, you cannot post links in my chat. Only I can, because I'm the broadcaster. And I'm a special one. I'm special here in this chat. No, but YouTube won't allow anyone to just send links. There's another mosquito in my room. Got him. Nice. That's one less mosquito. I like that. Very well done. The only big thing that I would really try to improve is your kick and sub bass separation. Really cool. Next up, Stone with different perspectives. Just finished this one today. Needs a proper mix using only Ableton native EQs. We'll see. Good track for the chill out stage in Ozora. I do agree, yes. That would probably work there. Get the headphones ready for this one. I like it. Your kick and bass can be a little bit longer. I would still consider like resampling it. You can make it a little bit longer up until here, and then you just resample. Also, the phase alignment might not be the best here, because you have very high peaks up here. Maybe that's not going to be a problem. Maybe forget that last part. Overall, it is clean though. This is another method to make your kick and bass very clean, is to just make the bass line very, very short, each note. In my opinion, it's not the best because it gets too much of a staccato feeling here now. But the sound design is really cool. Also, I like your high end, the drums, well mixed. Where should I post the link in Discord? Feedback on stream. If you're joining the Discord, you just scroll down here until you get to this point, and then you can post it there. Here's the portion where I would recommend like a fill there. If that's the change that you're going to make, especially the fact that you're removing the drums there, that's worthy, in my opinion, of a fill. Just to prepare the listener for that, that's going to happen. Nice bass melody idea, I like that. It's like half of the part that is very like unstable, very jumpy, and then the other half it's just normal. Like normal, same note rolling kick and bass. I really like that. Is it still possible to post a track? Yes, of course it is. Just post it in the Discord and then we'll get to it. I feel like the bass could be a little louder. Yeah, I think this is kind of like the style. It's a stylistic choice, right? The loudness of the bass. I usually recommend 1 to 3 dB below the kick, but there are people that go for lower still. A lot of this is going to be mitigated if you master this track. If this track got a proper master limiter, it's going to push that kick and bass together. Can I send work in progress? Of course, yes, yes. You can really send anything. I've jokingly once, kick is minus 10 dB and the bass is minus 12 dB. Okay, is that, how do you measure that? Is that peak loudness or? Because to me it seems that the difference is more. Because I'm a 1 dB difference kind of person. So I usually mix my kick at minus 8 and then my bass at minus 9, maybe minus 9.5 at the maximum. But I think, yeah, maybe with a proper master limiter that kick and bass is going to be squashed a little bit more. General audio each channel. Yeah, but do you mean peak? Do you mean RMS? Do you mean LUFS? It's not really going to matter, to be honest. I think you're going to mean peak level, which is just the loudest volume that they ever get to. Because as I said, once you master this, it's going to negate that volume difference. What is going to happen is that it's going to have more impact on the perceived loudness than the actual like peak loudness. Because they're both going to go into the master limiter if your mastering limiter is doing a lot of like squashing. Which for sidetrans it's most of the time is going to do that. Love your content, by the way, very, very informational. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. I'm glad that I can help. I have my ultimate guide to kick and bass coming up, and there I'm going to share a little secret on reverse kicks. Among a million other things, of course, because it's like 3 hours of video tutorial. But one of the teasers that I can give you for that is that in that video I talk about why you want to chop off the very transient part of your reverse kick. And it's like the same idea that we use for resampling, is that we provide a little bit of extra space for the main transient of the kick to actually exist. In this case you hear that you're using the whole kick in your reverse kick. And what that means is that it's going to go up all the way to that highest frequency of the transient, and then it's going to transient down again. If you really want some punch, if you really want some impact from that kick that it's reversing into, you can chop off the high or the initial part, and you just use kind of the sub, so you still get that gliding effect into it, which is the main effect that you like want from your reverse kick. But the kick still has a punch, it still has a transient. Saturation, yes, that's also like a key thing. Saturation, to be honest, what the difference between a limiter and a saturator is that the limiter takes some time to stop, right? A saturator is applied in real time, whereas a limiter, it has the release timing of it. So, and that's the only difference, because both of them, what they're doing is they have a certain ceiling, and if you go above that ceiling, the limiter is just going to push that level down, and the saturator as well, it's going to push that level down. Now there's different types of saturation, there's different types of limiting. The most intriguing or the most strong one is going to be like a hard clipper, right? Which just says, okay, if you go above the threshold, I'm just going to flatten you out. But usually what limiters do is they have a little bit of curve to it, in the same way that something like soft clipping does. So they both, what I wanted to say with that, so they both like diminish dynamics, essentially. They diminish the peak level in regards to RMS or LUFS, or like the actual term loudness that we use. Because peak level is not a measurement of loudness. That's just a level of like actual highest volume that you receive. Didn't we skip anything? No, we're here. Next up we have Synthesia Alontas with multidimensional beings, 140 BPM B. That's an interesting key. I've never written anything in B. Ooh. I'm a sucker for real world instruments, so I already like this. That synth can be a little bit more stereo though, because I'm also a sucker for stereo with. This sounds really good. The vocal can be a little bit louder there. It's barely audible in the mix. Personally, I would have the vocals stand out from that part. Hello George, how are you doing? Is that how you pronounce it? Isn't that the way that in Portuguese or Spanish or whatever you pronounce the J as a G? Can do a little bit more fading here, resampling your kick and bass. I don't know if this is like a work in progress or anything. Oh, here, that's out of rhythm, that one synth. But your kick and bass tone is really good. I really like the tonality of this one. It just needs a little bit of cleaning up. If you need help with that, I have a video for you that I basically post every feedback stream. Oh. Wait. Sorry. This one. You guys cannot use the first link. Hello? Can I... There we are. That second link that will talk about kick and bass cleanliness, and I think that's really the only thing you should do here in this track. As well as putting that one synth in the right rhythm, making sure that the rhythm lines up with what you're doing in the kick and bass. It's not 100% finished yet. Then it's perfectly reasonable that it's not cleaned yet, because that's usually like the final stage, right? It's just like mastering. You do that when you're sure about everything the kick and bass needs to do, so that you don't have to go back and make changes to it, because that's really a long process. At this point, in the last section, what I would expect is, oh, it's here, the ARP. I was expecting that in the last section, just a little bit of a melodic element below to help drive the track forwards, but we get that here now. Maybe then in the last section you can add like an acid synth just in the background to, over that 16 bars, open up filter cutoff and just make the track progress, right? That's what it does. It just adds that forward movements throughout the whole section. But honestly, the sound design and the structuring of this track is really, really well done. It's one of the better tracks, in my opinion, that we've had today. Here again, the vocals, I would personally suggest that you mix them in a way that they stand out of the rest that you're doing. Here again, you can hear that synth, the rhythm just doesn't match up with the rest of the track. Maybe you're doing some kind of sound design that introduces some latency in it. I find the bass very pleasant. I do really like this kick and bass, it's really well done. The tonality is really good. It's nice and clicky as well. I also like your drum mix. You can see that nice high-end scoop that I always aim for, and that I always tell other people to aim for as well. Okay, you're filtering it out with a little bit of resonance. That's maybe a little bit strange. If you're gonna filter it out, I would suggest lowering the resonance so you don't get that strange spike thing happening. This melody change is also a little bit strange here. Suddenly it goes into this that kind of melody. Have a nice day, hope you have too. Thank you. Here again you can see the lack of cleanliness, in this case in the kick. That's something that you want to fix. But again, you would do that at the end of the production stage, once you go into mixing and when you're sure that you're not going to change the kick and bass anymore, essentially. It's not sampled yet. Yeah, if you sample the kick and bass, then you just add your fades, and in that spot you have to add a little bit more in your fills, and then it should be good. As long as you remember to take care of that, then there's not going to be any problems. I mean, in terms of mixing, there's not much more that you would have to do. The volume balance is okay. I think Spectrally, your track sounds really, really nice. Maybe here and there a little bit of detail work, but... And the volume on the vocals, those should be louder. Vocals, especially when they're like, as you have in this case, they're saying something about the theme of your track, then it's important that the vocals stand out so that you can actually hear what is being said. Moto Techno, how are you doing? Welcome back. And Psychedelic Underground Records as well. How are you doing? We have some more tracks to listen to. How many? Next up is Sheox, Oxygen Thieves, Cynical Chemical. Yes. Sounds really cool. I like Oxygen Thieves as a track or as an artist name.
Acid, you want to buy some acid? $100 a sheet.
This one is a little bit louder than the one we had before.
Want to drop acid?
Hell no. Muscle brain. You ever done that shit before?
Me?
Especially that you like the kick and bass.
I'm the acid.
You're welcome. It was really well done. Some wonky sound design here, I like it. I also like the clean transients here, I'm always a fan of that.
You've already been burned once today. Fuck your shit house. Good luck, man.
Dude, that was 7 hits.
Well done on the vocal mix here. Like throughout the whole track up until this point. Yeah, you can see it in the waveform, right? You can see the individual compartments, basically the individual sections of kicks and bass notes, and that's really all that you have to aim for. That's why I always advocate making kick and bass. When you're doing that, you look through a size scope. So you can just see what is going on with it. Because there are actually techniques where, if you're doing it right, you don't actually have to resample. Again, when my ultimate guide is coming out, hopefully next week, I'll explain all about it. But there's way that you technically don't have to resample your bassline. And still you achieve a waveform that looks like this. The main problem tends to be the bassline with that, because there's so much like phase shifting processing on it. I mean, if you know what you're doing, then you don't really need a size scope. I think I can produce a clean kick and bass without the use of a size scope. But if you're beginning out and if you don't really know exactly the intricacies of how the processing and how the filtering affects like the phase shift between the harmonics, it's in that case you might go into like unclean kick and bass territory. But if you know what you're doing, and listening to this production it definitely seems like you know what you're doing, then I can imagine that you can do it by ear. I mean, as I said, I think I can do it by ear as well. What I do think is that there's a few synth elements that could be a bit more stereo. Like that synth that we just heard here, the main like lower FM synth.
Balls of coke, cause I wouldn't shut up the water skiing Billy had a bottle either, but that wasn't it. No, none of that matters. Nothing before the acid matters.
This one here, right? That low thing here, that sounds very, very mono. You didn't resample. This is only 7 hours into the project, by the way. It's sounding very good. For 7 hours, it's really well done. But from what I can tell by your messages, it's more than one person, so those 7 hours, they count double, right? Because it's 2 people working. It's a cheat code. No, it's impressive still. I'm joking. wish we could access more of that when I started out. How long have you been producing then? It's really like, yeah, the last 4 years in terms of tutorial content for Psytrance specifically. There's a lot more people in this space now. Which is good, which is a good thing. It enhances the genre because more people are able to find out about Psytrance from a production point of view. Gets a bit repetitive at this point. I do agree, you have that stuttering synth, I guess, that just kind of continues to play, I guess. Or that little tooty thing. Toot toot. And even this synth here, we've heard this for a while now. So at some point, yeah, I would advise that you just have a fill and then say break down, maybe remove some of the drums, and you just go into a new, completely different element. Those drums are very stereo, by the way. Some other elements were very mono, but this one is too stereo, I think. I like the cool glitchy effect that you have on it. Nice, very nice. I'm going to take a quick break. I really like that, by the way. Oh, the autoplay, I don't care for that. I'm going to take another quick break, and I'll play another one of my tracks, of course. This is going to be the other one of the ones that I want to release, hopefully very soon. As I said, maybe a month and a half, something like that. Then this should all be ready for release. This one is a little bit slower, it's a little bit more progressive, but I do really like the idea of this track. So I hope you guys will enjoy it as well. Be back in like 5 to 10 minutes. Where can I send the track for feedback? You go into my Discord server, I'll get you the link quickly. Right here, you enter the Discord server and then you just scroll down until you see feedback on stream and you post your link there. Okay, now I'll be right back. See you in a little bit.
We are
This is your homework. Yes. I'm glad you guys are liking the tracks here. I am back indeed. The asset line is a blast. Thank you. I spent a lot of time making that asset line work. There's a few issues still with the intro. Those vocals are a little bit wonky. Maybe I have a more recent render of it. I think I already fixed it. But it's either in the mixing project and I forgot to render that part out, or I still need to import it in the mixing project and then just render out the mix, because I've had to fix it in the production. There was some like export issue with one of the plugins that I used to make it sound like it was like slightly out of key there, and just overall a little bit wonky, so I did fix some of the issues there. I like the flute in that. This is a really cool flute, right? I found that sample and I was like, that has to go in a track. the long flute in the break, I assume that you're talking about. Anyway, now who do we have? George Silva, Dualism, Spiritual Existence, 145 BPM D sharp, version 22.5. This is a really producer kind of way, version 22.5 and then the date and everything. It's funny. Anyway, let's have a listen. Dualism. Does it work? There we are. Also starting off with a very nice flute sample. I just quickly changed shirts, by the way, because the other one was getting sweaty. A little bit of rumble down below there. Nice use of the Tuvan vocals from Omnisphere. At least I think that's what it is, right? Tulsi, welcome, welcome. How are you doing? I like this. Nice groovy bass line. It's nice and clean. I always love to see that. I think I've seen it in your productions before. You tend to work very cleanly, so that's very well done. And then we go into the normal rolling. Yeah, that's what I expected. Sounds really good now with the drums on top. Very solid mix. At this point you might still be alarmed with the amount of rumble that's down below here. To be honest, it is probably beneficial not to fix that. Like if you're planning on high passing it in your master, don't do that. Because it's going to basically destroy the kick and bass, right? With it shifts the phase, and then it's all going to bleed into the next transient, and all of that cleanliness that you've built up, it will just be removed. What you can do if you really want to is use linear phase. That will take care of it. You might have some issues with pre-ringing in some parts. But that's just like weighing which of the issues you want to address. Do you want to address the rumble, or do you want to have a little bit more punch in the transient? Because honestly, pre-ringing, if you're just using one linear phase plugin, it's not going to be that big of a deal in my opinion. I was cooking lunch and I have to stop just to say absolute banger playing now. I agree, yes, this is very well done. The vocals can be a little bit louder. And I can see that your kick rolls, they aren't cleaned up. I don't know if you did them in MIDI or with a normal sample, but in that case I would fade out the sample a bit more. There's also ways to fix it in MIDI, depending on what sampler you're using. Here as well, you can see that the cleanliness that we see in the rest of the waveform just kind of disappears there and it becomes like a bass rumble. 2 Vox from Omnisphere, yes. I can hear that. It's the same rhythm, it's the same tonality than the ones that I know. By the way, if you're ever looking for reference tracks, this is very close to the stuff that Cambium does. And he's one of my favorite artists. Let me see if I can find him for you. I think this guy here, Cambium, he makes really kind of that same kind of complex, very intermorphing kind of sound design as you're doing here. So if you're ever looking for a reference track, you can find them there. Do you see how now you can see each kick transient in terms of the color, and where it was in the rolls you really couldn't? That's kind of the way that I determine the cleanliness of those rolls. That is what's standing out to me. It's a little bit hard to see with it scrolling by so fast, but I cannot make it slower actually. But you could see it there. When the first kick played, it had a transient, and then the ones after that it didn't. Nice. I like the fact that you're going down here a little bit. That makes sense. You don't want to have that constant same energy everywhere. Really well done. Very nice, I like it. How many more tracks do we have? Let's see. 1, 2. Okay, so we'll do these final 2 tracks and then I'll call it a day for. I use kick rolls on sampler in Bitwig. Okay. Yeah, then it's going to be a little bit hard. Let me show you, like in Ableton, I know for a fact that the simpler instrument allows you to do both classic and one shots. One of these, I don't remember which, when you stop pressing the MIDI note, it stops playback, and the other one finishes the sample. You want to have it in a mode where it stops playback as soon as you release the note. Let me see if I can find out which one that is. We'll just pop up this one here, and then I should be able to see. So then you can do rolls, and then you just make sure that the release, it's not all the way to 0, but that you compensate for the release here. And in that case, you can take something like an arpeggio, set the gate to maybe like 80 or whatever, and then even unsync it. And you can see you get all clean transients from that. Right, so you can use that if there's a Bitwig equivalent. You don't want to set it like this, where even if you wait, maybe this overrides note. Maybe it doesn't really matter which one you use here. I guess it depends on the type of sampler that you're using. What you're looking for is that it doesn't fade into the next note. That's really all that you need to do. When you release a track, do you use mastering for yourself? Yes, I do everything. Even creating the artwork and creating all of the visuals. Everything that you see is done by me. Chiox, see you, dude. Or Greedo, whoever of the two is leaving. I have to go soon. I have to go. See you soon. Thank you. Glad that you were such a big part of the stream, because you were here for like almost all of the 3 hours, I guess. Saying bye to him. Yes, I understood. I kind of, because the chat for me, I read the most recent message first, so I thought that you were saying goodbye, and then I read the message above and I realized that it's actually Greedo who is leaving us. Anyway, next up, Shahar Kalizo. Oops, I was supposed to send the track here. Yes. Oh, you send it in feedback as well. I can remove that one for you then, because we'll listen to it here. So no need to double up, but I'll play it here. Let's see. Nice. I like the intro. There's a bit of a DC offset. This is something that I would address, because it, as you can see, it just pushes your waveform down from 0 here. And this is something that you don't have to fix in the master. You just fix it in whatever patch is causing this individual, like, very low rumble that is pushing your whole waveform down. Probably like a sub bass or something. Okay, I'm not the biggest fan of this kick and bass. It isn't clean either, and you have these spikes here. I would address that. I do really like the way that it's like groovy, right? The way that it grooves, I should say. And it has nice interaction with the rest of the elements. But you should probably clean it up a bit. Maybe this is still a work in progress, and in that case it makes sense. But you can see those like spikes in there. That's going to cause you issues when you're mastering. Production-wise, this track is really cool. All of the sounds, all of that part. It's just mixing issues that I think you can address here. I like that pluck being so outstanding here. That's a production decision. That's not really mixing. Obviously it has to do with its volume, But the fact that you're not using a lot of high end except for that pluck really makes the pluck stand out. Many thanks for your tip and feedback. Big hug. Thank you. Yeah, this is this is NN_145_G.mp3. That's the name. So yeah, that's the correct one. I do really like the production. I just think that the mix needs some work. I'm assuming that this is still work in progress, seeing as it just kind of finishes here. So I'm just kind of going to assume that you're going to get to that at some point. Just make sure that you take care of those issues that I mentioned. I think that will improve the track at least. So now is the last one. I have a mastered version, but it would have taken 1 hour to upload somehow. That's kind of strange. This right now is Dark Acid Nice 1 Final Not Mastered. Again, a very producer title for a track. This is by Jointler, and it will be the last track that we'll have a listen to. Some very strong techno here. Honestly, the same advice could be applied to your techno kicks in that you want to probably clean them up for this transient. And overall, I think that the start of the kick, this little segment here, should be a little bit louder than the rest of the rumble. Because now it doesn't really have the dynamicness that you would want from a techno kick, in my opinion. Because you want to still dance to the kick itself, so that needs a bit of impact, that needs a little bit of extra volume. You know what I mean? I like this. Nice stuttery effect there. Bro, you not tell me about my projects, Dema, your opinion, it's very important to me. It was at the very beginning of the stream. The stream did cut out at some point, so maybe the vault is, or the video of it is split in two. Again, musically I like the idea, it just needs to be cleaned up. But I 100% covered the 2 tracks that you submitted. Both of them. At this point, this part is coming a little bit boring, I would say. I would go on to a new section, a new idea at this point of the track here, to not keep it still. I do really like it. The sound design is nice, the kick is nice and punchy, apart from the fact that it needs to be like resampled in order to get even more punch. The design itself is good, right, for the kick. What you just need to do, in my opinion, is resample the kick first of all, and then make it so that the rumble that comes out of it is a little bit lower in volume than the main like punch of the kick, so that punch of the kick stands out a bit more and just gives you a little bit more impact. Okay, so that's going to be the stream. That's going to be all the feedback that I'm going to do for today. I'm now going to focus on editing the ultimate guide for sidetrance kick and bass video, which is 3.5 hours of footage that I have cut already. It was 7 hours in total of footage that I recorded, and I cut it down to 3 hours 20 minutes. And now I need to do all of the cleanup and all of the final checks and cuts and all of that stuff. So that will take me like a day or two. Can I do fast feedback about drop? It's like 30 seconds. Sure, why not? One more drop, I'll do that and then I'll go. Call me Amir, unfinished Yellowland. Is that you? Because now I'm getting more submissions. See, that's the issue doing this. Now I suddenly have 2 submissions from people. Okay, it's in total 3 minutes of things to listen to. I'll listen to both then. This is one thing. Sorry, I did it a little bit out of order. After this we go to Unfinished Yellowland by Call Me Amir. This does sound really good. I like it. Nice vibe. I am getting captured by you guys. Kick and bass mixing is already more on point than the other tracks that you sent. Like the punch is always the same, it's nice and coming through. So that's really what you're looking for. Okay, so the other one is Call Me Amir. I'll quickly listen to that as well and then we'll call it a day. And then no more. That's it. I have to set boundaries. Some nice aggressive sound design going on in this one. I like the morphing between all of the elements, that's really well done. That's a very strong kick transient. Also, what's happening here? Just completely removed a frequency area of the kick and the bass. It's also not really cleaned up here. As you can see, this is going into the transient. So you definitely want to fix that. Mixing wise, I think the kick and bass aren't getting enough priority. They could be like 2 dB louder than what they are now, relative to all of the rest. I don't know if you master this or if this is just a mix coming out of it, that you mix this loud. But something like that squelch down is too loud. I do like the way that you're switching up elements and playing with different elements in different parts of the track. That's really well done, but there is a lot of detail work still to do, yeah. As this is very, very unfinished, thanks for the advice, you're welcome. That's why I'm here. Nice. I like that. I can see that this has very much has potential. See you guys all next time. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I hope the feedback was helpful. And I hope that you guys stick around on the channel next week for the ultimate kick and bass video, which is going to be a banger. Anyway, see you guys next time. Bye bye.